And just like that, we are here reviewing the OG Sex and the City season by season. And we are now on still season 1, episode 11. That means one more episode to cap off this season. And then we get into season 2 this weekend. So this one is called The Drought. And if you were ever paranoid about any of your bodily functions affecting your relationship at any point of your life, the human side of you. And I'm not going to isolate this to just women, but a majority are. Could be anyone. When you do that little thing that you do, you know, and you don't want to do it in front of your significant other. Number 1, number 2, number 3 sometimes. Could be anything, any bodily function. And you were paranoid about that? Well, honey, this is the episode for you because this one really pissed me the hell off. Let's get into it. The Drought, season 1, episode 11. Stay tuned. Scene opens. Carrie's narrating. Carrie's narrating about the fact that one of the reasons why New York never sleeps is because the people in New York are constantly looking to have sex, get some sex, or find their way in the sex world. Now, I heard this, and I don't think New York is the only place that's like that. Otherwise, we would have very little people in the other states. But I can understand the flow and the vibe that she's trying to give here. That we're constantly around and up because we're always trying to get laid. Literally, that's what she says. Okay, I'll go with that. Doesn't explain my insomnia, but let's pretend it does. Next, she says that if you find someone that you can have regular sex with, it becomes a beautiful thing. So she's in bed with Mr. Big and they're flirting, eating ice cream, and they're getting it on and everything is wonderful. And one of the things that she mentions is that it comes a time where, they finally are in a place where they can actually not just have sex and go to bed, but they're actually sleeping. Now, I have to say, I do remember this way back in the yonder years when I was dating and flirting in my 20s, where, you come to that point where everything is now settling slowly and you now are sleeping and you're waking up with each other. Oh, that first day, that one time was great. I'll hold it in my memories forever. So as the morning rises and she narrates that it was just like what she always dreamt it to be. And she's tugging on Mr. Big and, he's waking up and he's giving her a kiss. And then the next thing she does is that she farts. And she has a stroke. And he's laughing. And she throws herself under the cover. And he makes a funny, I think it'll be worse down under in the covers. She flies out of bed. She practically breaks her face into the door. She's running, and Mr. Big is dying laughing, and I'm laughing too, because I'm like, wow, that's can't say that's ever happened to me, but I can get the vibe here. And she's running out the door, narrating that she's never gotten dressed so fast and get the hell out of there as that moment. Got it? And she's mortified. Completely mortified that she farted in bed with Mr. Big. Good. Got it. Next scene, she's in her house, her apartment, and she's typing and she's trying to lose herself in the day. And all she can think of, and then you hear the farting sound. And it comes right back to her. She's mortified again. Great. So she spent the whole day not speaking to Mr. Big because of the infamous fart gate. Because I'm going to call it fart gate. Yeah, fart gate. Then she decides to go to his house the next day, and they have a beautiful spread of what I can see is Chinese food. And she's trying to talk to him about, some opening at the gallery, and do you want to go? And he's like, yeah, can you get me some duck sauce? Yeah, it was Chinese food, duck sauce. And as she gets up, he puts a whoopee cushion on her chair, unbeknownst to her, And when she goes to sit back down, it makes the farting sound. And then they start screaming and laughing and hooting and hollering. And she's narrating that it comes to a point in a relationship where romance gives out to reality. That I can say is true. We all been through it. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. You know when. You know. Then she tries to romanticize the evening by going into her little nightie as Mr. Big is in bed, and she's crawling up to him and she's trying to get it on. And he turns around, he says, I'm absolutely exhausted. Well, of course, did you see all the Chinese food that you had? I would be exhausted too. I got exhausted just looking at that food. Can we just go to sleep? And she feels that at some point, now they're not having sex anymore because this was the first night that they actually went to bed without doing it. And they actually just he wanted to sleep. Okay. Well, let me just say this. A couple of things straight off the bat. Right off the top. What I don't like, not in this episode, just in general. I don't like when you wake up in the morning and you don't get up and brush your teeth first thing in the morning. Don't come to me. Don't kiss me. Don't even breathe. Don't even look at me. That to me is a deal breaker. All these scenes with they're all kissing right after they wake up, I know it's full of crapola. Crapola, because there's not a single person that I've ever met, known, spoken to, heard. Because if it was out there, we would all be using it. That you wake up with fresh, minty breath in the morning. Trust me. If it was invented, we would be using it. You know what I'm talking about. So, do me a favor. Get up, wash your face, brush your teeth. Then you can come back and be romantic as much as you want. Not until then. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're the most gorgeous man or woman in the world. No. 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 Second, okay? I get that the whole going to the bathroom. Listen, I don't care if you're doing number one, number two, number one and two, which by the way, for men, I find that to be very difficult, but I'm sure it's plausible. My door's closed. Don't come to the bathroom. Just don't. Don't. If the door is open, that means I'm not doing 1, 2, or 3. Just brushing my teeth, taking a shower. I'm okay with that. Please don't do 1, 2, or 3 in front of me either. I don't like that. I don't like it. Just certain things that we know that we have to do and get out of the way. And I would like to have some privacy as I'm doing those things to get it out of the way. Those are my deal breakers. When the bathroom door, I don't want to hear you. Listen, I know I have to hear certain things, but I don't want to see it. So when the door is closed and you're in it, I'll respect that. Give me the same. That's it. After that, we can have all the fun in the world, but not until that's done. Next up, how Carrie has dramatized this whole fart gate. Because yet again, that's how she does things. They do. Next scene, we have Miranda and Carrie getting their nails done at a nail salon, and it is now midweek, and Carrie states that it's now 3 times that her and Big have not had sex. Got it. Got it. And Miranda says, well, it's been 3 times for you. It's been 3 months for me. And Carrie's shock and awe face was pretty shocking to Miranda. She goes, oh, could you at least not make that face? And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty bad. 3 months? I remember those days back then when you're supposed to be in your 30s and you're supposed to be hitting your sexual peak. I heard that for most of my 20s, that when you're in your 30s as a woman, that is when you're in the sexual peak of your life. I have to tell you that I think I may have missed that train, that peak train. I don't know where I was. I must have been paying attention to something else, maybe a comic, a movie, something, a parent, a mother. I don't know. But I don't remember hitting any sexual peak of any time in my 30s. I was sexually pooped, that's for sure, but I was not sexually peaking. Okay. I think that probably it really, if I were to think about it for more than a minute, which is right now, I'm going to say my 40s were much better. We'll go with that. But in my 30s, I thought some sort of light was going to come on, some sort of train was going to come in. Like, I thought that the sexual peak revolution was going to come in, and I didn't feel anything. Actually, I thought I felt much better in my 20s. In my 30s, I probably was, well, I was already married. So yeah, that'll kill it. Next. Now that she is proclaiming that she hasn't had sex with Big for 3 times in a row in midweek, one of the things that Miranda says that because she is sexually frustrated after having no sex for 3 months, that she is, going to blockbusters to ease her sexual frustration. And the first thing I thought about was like, oh my God, this is how I know this show is so dated. Because remember Blockbusters? We went through this conversation already, right? And she's like, what? She's like 2 movies away from a pack of gummy bears. You remember when Blockbuster used to do that when they give you rewards if you rent so many movies in a row? Wow. People will not understand. Generations, even the ones that are watching now, will not understand the significance of Blockbuster and going out, not just Blockbuster, but going out and renting a movie and that whole communal thing that we talked about in some of my other videos. It is pretty nice to see that. So I was like, damn, it just like thrusted me back right now. Because you remember I'm watching it back in 1998, which was more common for Blockbuster. And now I'm watching it again. I'm like, whoa. I haven't heard that and remembered that in a while. So it was nice to see. So as Carrie's complaining that, she's concerned that, her man's or her boyfriend that she likes to call him hasn't wanted to have sex with her, she admits to Charlotte. Oh my God, Charlotte. She should have this conversation with Charlotte, actually. She has the conversation with Miranda stating that she farted. And Miranda's laughing. She's like, I farted. I farted in front of my boyfriend. And she's completely mortified. And she really, truly believes that that is the reason why they're not having sex 3 times in a row since he's been there, or 3 times in midweek. Doesn't say in a row, but it's 3 times. And Miranda's like, so what the hell? Who cares? You're human. And she's like, well, I don't want him to know that. So what do you want him to think you are, an alien? I don't understand that. I never subscribed to that I'm not human aspect. So if you're not human, what are you? Mm-hmm. And that he's so perfect, and he's perfect, perfect apartment, perfect suits, I didn't see that in Big. I didn't think he was perfect at all. And again, back then, I'm like, why is she obsessed with this man? Okay. Now, Miranda's statement is like, so what? Let him see this side of you. She's like, I'm the one who farts against him being his perfect lifestyle. And that's why we're not having sex. And Miranda's like, listen, it's only been 3 times. Chill out. Paraphrasing. Chill the F out. She's like, well, it's been 3 months for me. And Carrie, circling back to her, states that, well, it's very different when you're in a relationship not having sex versus you not having sex because you're not in a relationship. Good point. I would admit, but nonetheless, it's still frustrating. And 3 times midweek, not sure what that is about. I don't know what the frequency of sex is in the beginning stage. Well, in the beginning stage of the relationship, we all know you're like rabbits. You're discovering each other. Everything's firecracker. Everything's sparkling. Everything's this. And the reality starts to set in where you're human. You get tired. You fart. You don't want to do things. You get cranky. My God, we PMS. It happens. That's why you have to phase out of the romanticizing of everything and then really get to know each other to see if you even like each other. Because just because you have great sex doesn't mean that you have a great relationship. I don't know. Has anybody heard that before? So as when Carrie starts going off into her tangent, in my head, I'm thinking to myself, wow, She really thinks this man is a demigod and that she is nothing but a farting human being, subservient subject to him, and cannot make any mistakes because he will not love her. Remember the black box episode where we lost her? This is where she starts the descent into the black hole. Because again, I'm okay with trying to recap this right now because we all know what happens at the end. But imagine watching this for the first time when it first aired and every single insecurity that anybody ever had about their life, about their mans, about their body functions, about just being in a romantic relationship and how things change and you don't realize how to change with it. And the obsession of being so perfect for someone that you believe is perfect, that has no flaws, really fed into a lot of the things that were going on with women in general. I'm not just saying women, but specifically because a lot of women were watching the show, people in general. We need to stop the madness. I was so infuriated watching this episode with my friends because one may have been that type of nut job. I won't say her name. She was crazy. Next up, we get to hear the montage parts that I love about the show, about the different people and their perspective. I love this part. They do. And hey, subscribe. The montage of New Yorkers and their statements, which is part of the reason I used to love this show so much. It wasn't just a view of how each of the ladies would think of certain scenarios. It's how they spread it out to different people and their perspective. So, as Carrie's narrating after she left the nail salon with Miranda and her 3-month lack of sex, for lack of a better word, we have the narration of, in New York, we have 1.3 million men, single men, and we have also 1.8 single women. And of these 3 million people, only 12 people believe that they're getting enough sex. And in her actual, typing on her computer, she wants to know how often is enough, which is a question left to any one of us because it really depends on us. How often is normal to us? Because I can't tell you what normal is to you. We have different variations. We have Samantha, the sex addict. We have, Charlotte, whatever the hell she's doing. It really depends on your relationship. So now, because of this question, we get the montage. We get this guy who says that he has to jerk off 3 times a day just to make it through. And other people take coffee breaks. He takes jerk off breaks. I'm going to tell you something. I dated someone like that once. It didn't last very long. Then we have this one who says the average 33-year-old woman has sex 3.5 times a week, and she would like to know who that woman is. I would presume she is not one of them. I know that because when I hit 33, I said the same thing. Then we have this one, which is one of my favorites. He goes, I haven't had sex with my wife since the baby was born, and the baby will be applying to Yale next summer. I know that person. I know a few of them like that. It's freaking hilarious. And then we have this one. She stated that one time a day, 2 times on a special day, like birthday. Really? 1 time a day. You don't stop? Again, I cannot tell you what's normal for you and what's normal for me and what's normal for her. But oh my God, could you imagine? I mean, listen, if you're doing it 1 time a day, whatever age you are, good for you. I think. Is it good? I would think it would be a little painful. I would think I would need some sleep. Next up, Samantha's rendition of what could be the problem and her story arc. Because no matter what, whether anybody's not having sex or not having enough sex or what is normal, what's not normal, then there's the world of Samantha and her world. They don't. Our next scene. Who do you think Carrie goes to talk about her non-sex midweek 3 times relationship with Mr. Big? Samantha, of course. They're in a yoga class. And as you know, the first thing that Samantha says, that normal is the halfway point of between what you want and what you can get. I like that. I think that actually means something. It does seem right. And that, the yoga instructor, who, by the way, I have never taken a yoga class, so I don't know if these instructors normally look like that, but he's circling around, and Samantha's like, woof, I can do it with him 3 times a day, all day, every day. Really? I'm shocked. And now Carrie has it in her head to say and ask her, hey, do you think it's normal to be sleeping with someone but not really sleeping with someone? And Samantha's like, well, sex is a barometer of the status of your relationship. So then Carrie decides to confess to Samantha, I didn't want to tell you this, but I farted. And Samantha's like, well, then move your mat away. She goes, not now. I farted in front of Big. And of course, Samantha's reaction, oh, honey, big mistake. And of course, that feeds into Carrie's neurosis. You think is her next answer. I'm human. And Samantha's like, no, you're not. Men don't want women to be human. They don't like women to be that way. They don't want they don't want to know when they douche, use tampons, fart, or even have hair in places where they shouldn't. She claims that a guy actually broke up with her because she missed the bikini wax. Maybe, just maybe, it's the men that you're dating, Samantha. That's a little extreme, even for normal people. So, Carrie, feeding into her neurosis again, starts to panic, and she goes, I knew it. And Samantha, in the best yoga position, my God, what a body this woman has on her, says, listen, just go over there and F his brains out and he'll forget all about it. Men are like plants. They won't really notice anything. Sure, I could see that in general. And as she turns around, because she gave the fruit of knowledge to Carrie, who's now thinking in her mind how she's going to F her man's brains out to forget the fart, because literally this is what this is about, okay? Mm-hmm. She turns around and yoga instructor decides to, what is that? Get physical? I'm going to tell you something, ladies, gentlemen, people. Again, I've never taken a yoga class in my life. I have yoga tapes, which might explain why I never got into yoga as much, because if I were to get into yoga because of that, I would see is that why y'all go to yoga class? School me, educate me, learn me something. Is this what's happening in these yoga classes? Is that why all these people are obsessed with yoga? I didn't know this. Had I known what I know now, what I didn't know then, I would have been the most yogaist person in the world. Girl, boy, everybody in between, honey. Because that was very personal. So personal that she asks him out for a date, for a coffee break. So Yoga Man and Samantha are at a cafe, and she's just saying to him, her flirting way, after I take your class, I feel so alive, so invigorated. Well, I would too if you were touching me in the way that he was touching her. And he tells her that he's celibate, that he practiced some sort of tantra celibacy, yoga crap, minutia. And poor Samantha's like, oh my God, she hasn't had sex for 3 years. And she's like, oh my God, why? And why? It was as if someone killed Samantha's rabbit. You know what I'm talking about. The rabbit. Samantha was going to have a heart attack. Okay. And he goes on to some sort of crap about he used to have sex all the time, 3 times a day, mostly with different women. Sounds like Samantha, except for the women. She was doing it with men. Sounds right. Okay, great. A little extreme, but yeah. And that he gave that all up, and now that he is completely celibate, and that just envision that you have all this pent up sexual energy, and it just stays in your body, and then it recycles, and blah, 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 blah. I'm celibate, and I can't have sex, and this sounds like a bunch of crap. Not even me, not even I believe this nonsense coming out of his mouth. Now, it could be true. I just didn't believe it. Not for a second. Okay. So as he's saying to her, all of the wonderful energy just recycles in your body. All that sexual energy recycles in your body. Okay. Samantha's like, I have an apartment right down the street. And he's like, no, Samantha. And we won't do that. And then Carrie's narrating that Samantha was impressed and that her conversation about not having sex was the most deviant thing that she's done in months. Samantha, that was the most deviant thing she has done in months. Now we go into the third party of the party, because Carrie's, rotational tour of the fart gate has not ended. We now get to hear the rendition of Charlotte's arc and her story of this episode. Stay tuned. Fartgate Tour, Part 3. Carrie is now having dinner with Charlotte. And in her narration, she is now completely obsessed with Mr. Big and this whole situation about not having sex. So she sits down with Charlotte and she is explaining to her during dinner that the first time he was too tired. The next 2 times, she really wasn't sure what was going on. And as she wants to explain to Charlotte what she thinks is the problem, she has decided that she's not going to tell Charlotte about her fart situation because she feels that Charlotte's going to spontaneously go deaf because she's so Park Avenue Pollyanna. Got it. So one of the things that Charlotte says, which I don't know why I was surprised when I heard this because it's not surprising, said, "Oh, Carrie, people put too much emphasis on sex. It's not that important in a relationship." Mm-hmm. The rabbit. So, Carrie's like, and they're there specifically to meet one of Charlotte's new beaux, one of many. This time she's not engaged to him, which is shocking. So as she says that, take Kevin, the guy that she's been dating for weeks, that they haven't had sex yet, and they kiss and they cuddle, but he respects her boundaries, and it makes it all the more special. And then she says, there he is right now. And as Kevin starts to walk over to the table, Carrie's narrating, oh my God, the first time meeting someone's boyfriend could be kind of awkward. What if he doesn't like you? What if you don't like him? What if you slept with him already? So to be clear, this is a guy that Carrie has already not only dated, but she slept with in New York of 1.8 million single men. And somehow they end up dating the same people. I don't know how. I really don't. And she realizes when she introduces Carrie to Kevin that they know each other. And Charlotte is like, oh, you know each other. And he's like, yeah, we know each other, Kevin. And he gets a call and he has to take the call. By the way, no cell phone. He actually uses a payphone, which I think is hilarious. Again, hilarious. And Charlotte asks Carrie, okay, so you dated each other. How long ago? 3 years ago. She could live with that. FYI, I can't. The minute I know that one of my friends has slept with anybody that I'm dating, dead. Sorry. There's way too many men in the world. I don't like it. That's just me. You could be different. I'm okay with that. But I don't like it. And that, why did you guys break up? And she's trying to be, cavalier about it, Carrie. And, poor Charlotte is like, listen, there's no time for diplomacy. What happened? She says, he was a sex maniac. Completely contradictory to what Charlotte was in her mind thinking, that this guy was holding his libido for her. And the fact, well, not holding, he was respecting her boundaries. This actually turned Charlotte on, because in her mind, as Carrie narrates, the fact that he is holding back because of Charlotte made her want him even more. So the next scene is that they're in a cab, they're kissing, Charlotte and Kevin. And she's saying, I just want to thank you for all your patience with me, and that all this waiting is going to make it all the worthwhile. She turns to the cab as he's petting her like a dog. Sure. No words. There's only going to be one stop today. I'm presuming Charlotte's apartment. The next thing you have is that they're having or attempting to have relations. And all of a sudden he jumps right off of her, rolls over, and he's like, yeah, I don't think this is going to work out. Okay. Didn't expect the next words that come out of his mouth. She's like, what's happening? And he says, I'm just not that sexually active. And she's like, is it me? I know it's me. And he says, no, I think you're great. And she's like, well, I don't know, because, Carrie told me that she even used these words. You were somewhat of a maniac. A sex maniac. And he's like, oh yeah, I used to be that way before. And she's like, before what? I'm like, before what? Castration? And he's like, oh, before Prozac. Yeah, sounds about right. I remember Prozac being the thing back then. Wow. And I remember looking at my friends. I'm like, I don't want to go on that. And that he used to be a maniac, and he was all messed up, and he was all over the place. And that the only side effect is that he doesn't have any sexual needs, and that it took the air out of his tires. I think that for a lot of men, even now, that would scare the hell out of them. And that he is so zen right now that nothing bothers him. And she's like, oh, it's okay. I don't know how she thought it was okay. I think in her mind, she's like, I can work with that. And that he goes, great. Do you want to watch a movie? And he pulls out a Blockbuster video. Now, my question is, did he bring the video on the date? Or was it just laying? Because I believe this is Charlotte's apartment, right? Like, where did this video just pop up on the nightstand? And then all of a sudden he goes, do you want to watch a video? It was very odd. And I only could attribute it now that I understand product placement, is that must have been a product placement to be in the show. Because it was very off the cuff, out of nowhere, Blockbuster yet again making an appearance. Because it makes a few appearances in this episode. But I thought it was hilarious. I'm like, where did you get that video from? Did you bring it? Like, do you put that in your pocket? Like, how does that work? What kind of side effect is that for Prozac? Next up, we're still on Fartgate tour. Now we have the collective group involved. Stay tuned. Hey, when you get a chance, subscribe. Fartgate group session. As we watch Carrie pacing in her apartment, narrating that she's stressing out that she doesn't want to go spend another night with Big without having sex, she all of a sudden takes a look outside her window, and she notices that her new neighbors, who she coins the phrase Mr. and Mrs. Get It On, and the window looks very close, and she can see them getting it on. Now, I've said this before. If you're blessed with a window in New York with a view, always check the view. And if it's that close, make sure you could see it clearly. And if not, get binoculars. Because you'd be amazed on some of the things that you can see. A little scary too. So her sexual need overtook her from her fear. So she decided to call Big and ask him if she can come over. Great. Next scene we have is poor Samantha. She's with yoga guy, celibacy guy. And I guess he's trying to teach her how to be celibate. It's like, does he know Samantha? I don't know what it would be like. It would be like a dog trying to learn a new skill that involves impossible endeavors. Think of something. I don't know. Drop a comment. Now, as he's speaking, she notices that he's excited. And he's like, yeah, I know. And she's like, literally licking her lips. And she's like, I can help with that. And he's like, no, don't worry. It'll go down. She goes, it isn't. And I can go down too. And as she tries to reach down, he says, no. So she has to hold back her natural instincts for Samantha for this session of being or learning how to be celibate. Got it. The next scene you have is now we have Carrie, who has appeared at Mr. Big's house in one of her favorite outfits, the come F me outfit, I like to call it. He opens the door, surprised how well she's dressed for coming over just to hang out. And he goes, okay, come in, you look very nice, I'm watching the fight. And as he's trying to watch the fight, she's trying to fight with him for attention. And I just have to say, ladies, and even men, because some ladies get into shows. When you or we are watching something and we're trying to watch it and enjoy it, leave us alone. Just either chillax, be there, or just go away. It's very annoying. This whole scene was so annoying to me because she is purposely trying to throw herself on top of him, and he is trying to tell her, I want to watch the fight. And finally, he gets frustrated and he goes, Jesus effing Christ, Carrie, stop it. I'm trying to watch the fight. She gets offended. She gets up and she goes, well, I'm leaving because, maybe I'm not perfect, living in your perfect apartment, watching your perfect pay-per-view, perfect. And he's looking at her like, what the hell are you talking about? And she says, I'm leaving. She walks out the door. She stays outside for 10 seconds as she notes for the obligatory 10 seconds to see if he'll come and stop her, which he didn't. She is next in her room listening to her messages to see if he left a message of an apology. He didn't. And she says she didn't get any sleep that night, and she was not the only one who didn't get to sleep. In comes Samantha. Samantha, as Carrie is narrating, for the first time in a very long time, was feeling something that she's never felt before, which was sexually frustrated. Okay, so as she's trying to want to release her frustration, she has decided that she has come this far. She can hold off on self-satisfaction. This celibacy thing is literally killing Samantha. Literally killing her. Okay? Hilarious. The next thing you have is Miranda with now her arc. Okay? She is walking to Blockbusters to drop off a tape that she rented. Okay? And of course, you have the typical New York construction workers at that time. I don't know if they still do it now. I haven't seen that in a long time. And I'm not talking about because of my age. I'm talking about in general with other people. Okay? So don't go there. That he's like, oh, there goes this hot woman, and he's yelling at her, and he's like, honey, I got what you want. I got what you need. In front of his friends, in the middle of the street, in front of Blockbusters, as he's dropping off the tape, and Miranda's frustrated. She walks away. She doesn't say anything until, wait for it. She ends up at Carrie's home, where Carrie is painting her kitchen, which, by the way, is the first and only time that I can recall Carrie ever doing anything remotely this way for her apartment, ever. I've never seen Carrie cook, clean, sweep, mop, nothing. So as she opens the door for Miranda, Miranda states it's been 3 months and 1 week. And this is hilarious. She's like, oh, wow. And she notes that Carrie is painting the kitchen, and Carrie is upset because she's like, listen, it's been 2 days. I haven't heard from Big, and, I can't believe I farted. And Miranda's like, stop with the freaking fart. It's not the freaking fart. And Carrie admits, she goes, I know it's not the freaking fart. The problem is that I think I'm in love with him, and I think he's going to leave me because I'm not perfect. Oh my God, when I heard this, I wanted to scream so badly. And Miranda takes her to the living room and says, let's talk about this. And Carrie proclaims that she's afraid that because she's not perfect, that one day she's going to open the New York Times and she's going to see and read that he has married a perfect girl who doesn't fart in his $500 sheets, which, by the way, does really happen. Natasha. Literally the same person. Okay? And the sad part is that she's saying that she's not perfect and she's afraid that he's going to see the real her. And Miranda's trying to explain to her, but why don't you let him see the real you? And he goes, what if he doesn't care about me? What if he doesn't want to be with me? and she starts shaking. She's like, Miranda. And then Miranda notices the day show of the Mr. and Mrs. Get It On. And Carrie's like, oh, I didn't know there was a matinee. And she says, when a good show comes out, word gets around. And now we have the group of girls. And they're all watching Mr. and Mrs. Get It On during the day. Okay. The 1990s versions of the Ladies of Matinee, which is what she says is hilarious. And Miranda's not yelling, but she's proclaiming to Samantha, I don't understand how you're giving this up willingly. And and she's like, how long has it been? She goes, 100 years. I hardly miss it. And of course, Charlotte is shocked that this guy has been excited for over an hour and hasn't stopped. Okay. And they're all looking at this show, eating gummy bears. And Miranda is still on this fact that, hey, at least, it's been 3 months for me. You're giving this up willingly, Samantha, when people are fasting. You're fasting while people are dying out there. And she's like, Samantha's like, well, at least you can take care of yourself. Because apparently this is part of the spiel of this celibacy. You are not even allowed to take care of yourself. And Miranda's like, I'm really past taking care of myself. I'm getting carpal tunnel syndrome. I'm freaking dying laughing. All my friends, we are cracking the hell up. I miss these days so much of watching this show new and not knowing what was coming out of these girls' mouth. It was one of the highlights of my day, of my week, believe it or not. And Miranda claims, as they're, looking like this, because apparently they're not just getting it on, they're probably Cirque du Soleil people. And Miranda's like, I warned you, ladies. If I go past 4 months, I'm going to hump one of yous. And I totally believe her. Totally believed her. I was like, oh my God, get a rabbit. Get a rabbit. Please. They come with remote controls, apparently, from what I understand. You don't need to get carpal tunnel syndrome anymore. I'm just saying. As they're looking at all of them, they must have done one hell of a move, because whatever it was that they did that we didn't get to see frustrated Miranda so much. She goes, I hate them. And she leaves. As she leaves, she is back at Blockbuster again in front of the, construction worker who, I got what you need, I got what you want guy. And he says the same thing again. This time she walks out and she goes, you got what I need? You got what I want? Well, I want to get laid. Can you do that for me? Paraphrasing. And he's like, whoa, lady, I'm married. Relax. And she's like, all talk and no action. What a gavon. Best line ever. Finally, someone put them back in where they belong. It was one of the best scenes of this episode of this season. The this, the that, the carpal tunnel. Hilarious. Stay tuned, because now we're going to wrap this up. It's somewhat. Poor Charlotte. Stay tuned. The end of Fartgate Tour. Next scene we have Samantha's done. She's done. She's done with this whole celibacy crap, yoga palooza thing that this guy's trying to put on her. She's in the yoga class. He touches her and she exclaims, if you don't plan to put those hands further down, get them off me. That's my girl. He quickly retorts. She goes down to one of her poses and she's determined that she's going to get laid. So she's looking around the room to find out if anybody wants to get laid with her. She turns to her right and she looks at a guy. Do you want to F? As she's mouthing this to him. He goes, no. Ding dong. Doofus. Sorry, doofus. She turns to her left and she mouths the same question. Do you want to? And the guy's like, what? And she gets up and she goes, do you want to F? And the guy's like, hell yeah. And she walks out with the new one as the yoga instructor stares at her with sweat beating down his eyes. And the narration of Carrie is that Samantha spent the rest of the day having multiple yogasms. I love it. Great. Charlotte. Oh my God. Charlotte is in her bedroom and she is trying to get Kevin to be excited, quite aggressively. And he's like, I don't think this is working. She's like, no, I think it is. And he's like, no, it's not. And I'm beginning to chafe. Oh my God. So She lays back down and he's like, are you okay? And she's like, yes, I just never had this happen to me before. And she tries to ask him, do you think that you will ever? And he's like, what? Give it up? Give up Prozac? Yeah. And he's like, no. She's like, not even for me? He goes, no. Completely spaced out. And he's like, don't you want to be with a guy who's kind and loving and doesn't care about sex as very much versus being with a prick who is oversexed and is just a dick to you? And she gets up from her bed and looks at him and she says, no. Completely not what I expected Charlotte to say, but I could see where she's going with that. And when she realized that she didn't want to give up that ability to have sex with a prick, the guy leaves. That's it. She's never going to see Prozac guy ever again. You know, ever. Next one is now we have Carrie who is still painting her cabinets. It's Saturday night and she's saying that it's another Saturday night. She hasn't heard from Mr. Big. The doorbell rings from downstairs and it's him. So he comes upstairs, and I presume this is the first time that he's ever actually been inside her apartment, which it didn't dawn on me at that time that he has never been upstairs. So he's looking around and he's like, oh, this is where you live. And she's like, why didn't you call? And he's like, why didn't you call? And he's walking around the apartment and he's like, nice. I like it. Now, I have to say, when I saw the apartment this time, I didn't like the green walls. I don't know why it stood out to me because I feel that I've seen the walls white. Now we need to check the next episodes to see if that's the same color. But that color on those walls made that apartment look horrible. So as he's walking around, he's saying, hey, I like it. I like it just the way it is. And Carrie is saying, no, it's horrible. I need to strip the floors. And I want to change the curtains. Well, then do it. Then why are you not doing it, Carrie? And he goes, no. And he gets up. Then he asks her, what was that about the other night? And she goes, that was me having a meltdown. So he gets up and he's about to say something until he gets distracted with the paint on her face. He touches her face and he's like, nice paint. Eggshell? I couldn't tell eggshell from ecru from cream. So I'm very impressed that anybody even knows these names. And it ruined a perfectly good moment of him trying to say something to her. So as she is watching him take the paint off her face, he turns around to guess what? Mr. and Mrs. Get It On. This time we don't see them. And he tells her, do you know that you have two people across the window humping? Which I do respect the word. He didn't say effing. I like that. And she looks at him. She's, oh, I never noticed. Except for the matinee tickets she charged her friends to do the matinee show just a few hours ago. I'm just saying. And he's like, as she's narrating, she goes, in her head, I can't stop thinking about why are we not having sex? What is wrong with us? Is this normal? I'm like, oh my God. And then he turns around and he says, hell, we can do better than them two. And he grabs her and she says, and then he kissed me. It's so funny how normal is so uncomfortable. And that's it. Now they're getting it on with Mr. and Mrs. Get It On, except that he doesn't take her to the window. He takes her to the bed. Hey, listen, Mr. and Mrs. Get It On, are you honestly going to tell me you've never noticed people looking into the window? Just people, just a group of people. It's a little extreme, I must admit. I have personally never seen that. I've heard of people, but not to that level, okay? And that's Carrie's in love again. And she feels loved by Mr. Perfect Big. Unbelievable. Next up, epilogue. Epilogue. Well, I have to say that this was an interesting episode. It touches the points of the next level of your evolution of being in a relationship, which is the really getting to know you part, right? It goes beyond all of the romanticism that we place when we're in the first stages of our relationship, where everything feels like magic and everything is, oh my God, and he doesn't fart, she doesn't fart, there's no bad breath, there's no awkward silence, there's always just getting it on with Mr. and Mrs. Get It On. You're just always in heat like a freaking, rabbit. We've all been there. We are still going through it. It's those magic moments that either bond you to get to the next level, because then you settle into what Samantha says normal is between what you want and what you get, or you eventually pass this phase and then all of a sudden you realize you don't want to be with this person because all it was smoke and mirrors. Benifer. That's all I'm going to say. Jen and Ben. Smoke and mirrors. Because you have to like the person, not just want to be with that person in the days that are not going to have, the hot sex. I've been saying this all the time, and it was so disturbing to me back then that this girl, Carrie, was so obsessed by being perfect and that she thinks she's in love with this guy and that she thinks that he's going to leave her because she's not perfect. That is such a sad way to think of a relationship. How they made this a marriage, I don't even know. But it did not for me and my friends as far as the group, because this had to do with more relationship, but we were able to discuss their relationship a little bit more openly. And they were triggered by some of the things that were happening because by this point, some of the relationships were either on the rocks or about to fail, right? And they were reminiscing on the moments of when the relationship was good and how much they missed being in that part of the stage of the relationship. Bringing it back down to reality in such a stark manner really opened up a can of worms for some of them, right? Eventually, like I said, the two of them ended up with people different than who they were with when we were watching the show. One because of the cheating, one because of the abuse, but it never it never stopped the path of starting a new relationship addiction and getting into that. I'm so excited to be with them that I can't see the danger and the red flags, which are huge when you are not paying attention, because love is all encompassing, right? It's consuming you, and you need to get past that fire in order to get to the next level of, okay, now let's stoke the flames a little bit. And who are you? Do I like you? Do I want to be with you? Do I see myself getting further into you? You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. Can we be not perfect together and still enjoy our time? And that is what disturbed me about this episode, because it was never about her rediscovering herself and being okay with not being perfect. She was obsessed, Carrie, obsessed with Big in her mind being perfect and her not being perfect. And it was not okay for her. Samantha's arc, she tried it. She didn't like it. Go to hell. Charlotte, she tried it. She said, hell no, I want to be in the crazy drama. She let it go. Miranda, she put her foot down. She told the Gabon what she wanted. We don't know if she ever got laid. I guess in the next episode we'll find out. But it's interesting how each one of them had a problem in the beginning, tried to conform, right? Yet Carrie was the only one that never really conformed. She was just obsessed with being in Big's bed. Being in Big's bed. That's exactly what it's all about with her. Because it doesn't get any better. It actually gets amazingly worse. And this self-deprecating mindset that she's had with this guy has been throughout the entire series. Even through In Just Like That, when she was still paranoid about Natasha, where she stalks her, confronts her, and she wants to know why Big left her money in his will after he passed away, because in her mind, he could have been still cheating with her and on her with Carrie as a, payback. Even after everything that she went through and 22 years of marriage, she still has that freaking paranoid sense with this guy. And I'm telling you now, it's not healthy. It's not healthy. And if anyone is in a healthy relationship right now, and healthy means a lot to different people, but you're at a place where you know that this is going to go somewhere, has gone somewhere, is somewhere, please drop a comment below to see if I'm even in the right track, because I cannot speak for myself. I tried it, I didn't like it, and I left because I know my self-worth was a lot better than what I had settled for. Great guy, still stay in contact with him. Shouldn't have gotten married. That was our fault. And I say our collectively. But at the end of the day, I had to put my foot down and realize what I wanted. And what I wanted for me and my son was completely different. And I'm very happy with my choice. Extremely happy. And where I am right now and where I'm going to be, like I said, the world is open. I don't know. I don't know. But for anyone who's going to watch the show, who's watching me, who's in this right now, take lessons from what these people are trying to tell you. Especially not Carrie. Don't take any lessons from her. Unfortunately, I cannot commend Carrie for what she's doing. But I can tell you that if you know your worth, know your morals, know what you would and wouldn't do, settling is not the answer. It's just not, you know. And if you're in that position right now and you want to get out and you feel that you have the ability to do it, find the strength, find the community, find the people that can support you to make your decision. Because that's what life is short. Life is short. And you don't want to look back and be like, what the hell did I waste my good years for? Because you will wake up one day. So let me know how you felt about this episode. We are one episode away to closing out the season. Are you excited? Thank you for watching, and thank you for coming in and engaging and sharing and liking. Please continue to do so. The YouTube algorithm, my last video has picked up. I think there's a flow coming in. I think that it's pushing it out more. It made 3 out of 10. I don't know if you guys know about this in the YouTube studio. Your videos are ranked. My last one just made 3 out of 10. Let's make this one 2 out of 10. Let's make the last one that we're going to do 1 out of 10. And let's get this algorithm to push this out. We're going to have so much more fun. I thank you all for watching, and I enjoy all your comments. It is dropping. Hopefully I'll get this video out on Wednesday night as I'm recording. This is Tuesday for me. And then we're going to have hopefully I can get episode 12 on Friday, so then I can focus on the weekend to bring you 1999 and the start of season 2. I'm so excited and I just can't hide it. I said I was going to sing. Too bad you're going to have to hear me sing. Listen, I want you all to have a beautiful, blessed week. And thank you to all my loyal subscribers for watching and putting up with me and laughing and joking and making me laugh so freaking hard. You guys are funny. Funny. Thank you. Have a beautiful, beautiful, blessed week. See you in a couple of days. Thank you. Goodbye.